This is a recording of a three-person race. I am in the slowest car, and the two other people are just random people that I ran into on a public server. There's no timer or anything in the race. It's just on our word. It wasn't anything like competitive, it's just casual racing. And as such, these two were not very warmed up to the track, and I was able to beat them and be the only one that survived by the end of it, just because they weren't warmed up. It goes to show kind of how patience and just driving a car, even if it's slower, can lead to you winning, because people just push too hard. White car crashes here. He's out. And from this point on, I just pull away. Even though I think I have less than half the horsepower, I believe I have just about half the weight. So therefore my car is not going to outrun the straights, but in every single braking zone and in every single corner, I just walk away. Through this corner you can really see how he's able to get a pretty good run through it, because he has a faster car in every way, he's just not driving faster. Through this section I get a faster run, he actually ends up cutting track. We can see that better from other angles later. And it's clear he's pushing the car too hard to try to keep up with me, and make it through these corners. We come up this hill, and somehow, just watch very carefully, slow it down. I zoom in here. I don't really know how, or well, I know exactly how, but in my mirror, I caught a glimpse of him upside down in the air, and parts coming off. And you know, I didn't know what happened, and of course I have the full replay, so I was able to see this. He just managed to roll it. Now that is a problem with that specific track tune in the game. He didn't change any of it to make it better in any way, he just spawned it, drove it tonight. So this is the start of the same race, just from another angle. It's interesting to see their braking zones and their lines throughout these corners. When the white car almost goes off to my left here, I avoid him but take the inside just fine, and then I end up with a really bad line around this corner, which pushes me all the way to the outside and makes me very slow. Would have gotten a little more speed through there if I hadn't been pushed so far off the line. But it doesn't matter, because both of them tried to outbrake me in the lightest car, and end up flying through the corner. It gets on two wheels 2 times there, which allows me to pass him. And then behind me we get to see the white car die. Or well, we miss it here, but we have more angles of it later. So there he goes, bonk. And from here on out, this is just from this perspective of me slowly gapping him. I suppose I could use this time to talk about the car I'm driving. It is a Piccolina, which is not really regarded as a very fast car. Like, no one looks at it and goes, oh my god, that thing's a track monster. But I've found that if you take the time to really tune it and get it to handle good, and you get the engine to make as much power as possible, it's able to really stand its ground, because it's so light. You get a really good launch, and you get really, really good braking performance. And while other cars with downforce and stuff can take that corner 5 or 10 miles an hour faster, there's other corners where this thing just, nothing beats it. And I love it for that. It's a very, very fun underdog of a car. And I'm pretty sure, I know it makes 170 wheel horsepower, but I'm pretty sure that's almost 200 horsepower down from that car that's following me. Like, it's being lightweight goes a long way, but the beginning here shows how our cars perform right at the launch. We get a perfect start all together, all three of us. This was just timed using the game chat, just counted down in text chat, said go. Everybody left on go perfectly. This is with a couple laps worth of practice and several other races that we did together. And got the hang of it is what I'm saying. This is in the slow motion, of course, but I want to point out the racing line that they take around these next couple corners from this perspective, because my line through here is borderline perfect, and both of them take the apex too early and end up really, really wide to the right. Following manually like this with the camera is a bit shaky, but it's way easier than setting this all up in the replay system, so I just did it like this. I think it was a good example of just how bad my line is. I'm way off hitting the apex at this corner, not even anywhere close to the apex. Doing my best to take as much room as I can, but I'm just going to end up way wide, way slow compared to what I would do normally through that corner. And here you can just see clear horsepower difference. I'm fully on the throttle with the car settled, and it just pulls around me. There's nothing I can do. It's a perfect example of how my car is by far the slowest, but because of my driving, I'm able to make up any gap by carrying far more speed through the corners. And for context, there's a white line coming right here, and another one. They should be braking on that line. Not braking, and now he starts to brake. Both of them just brake completely late. And up here, he clips the curb on the left when he comes back down and pops the car back up to the right. He gets sideways. He's lucky he didn't end up way out in the grass there. Pops it back pretty quickly. And then here, I'll focus on the white car a little. It's pretty funny. I slow the game down, move it over, out into the wall he goes. Ultimately, this was not a good show of driving from them, but they're just random people that I ran into. It's the experience you have. It's tons of fun.